Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of War Machines. So last time, we completed another semifinal bracket, which resulted in another tough and strong contender confirming their spot in this season's grand final, while two, potentially three others, being sent over to the last chance section of this competition. So yeah, we are on to the next heat, and this is the last quarter of all the heats. We're down to 4 left. So in this one, 12 more awesome robots will all make their debut and look to provide that first impression to show that they have what it takes to potentially go on a deep run in this competition. So we got quite a few hard hitters, quite a few newcomers that have quite a bit of potential, and lots of fun machines here in store for us tonight. So, I think before we get to the action, let's go ahead and introduce the robots that will be fighting for a spot in next episode's semifinal. And here they are. So to start off on the left side, we have Bombshell, back for their third season with that vertical spinner and battering ram type combination. Then next up we have Bonesaw, the first rookie in this group that we're reading off, coming from King of Bots and debuting that long-reach horizontal spinner, and we'll be looking to tear apart the competition. Then we got a few unusual and big wheel designs. The first of those two is Button Lee, looking to come with that design from King of Bots and looking to tear apart the competition with those two vertical spinners. Then next up, to start the next quarter of this group, we have Falcon, back for their third season after 2 rough seasons so far in this series. They'll be looking to get back on track as they bring back that dual drum spinner robot. Then I mentioned we got 2 big wheel contenders. The next one is up next, where we got Iron Rooster from King of Bots looking to debut that Thwack bot and looking to knock off the competition and cause as much chaos as possible. Then next up, we got a well-known King of Bots contender, we have Iron Scrap, making their debut to this series, and will be looking to tear apart the competition with that drum spinner. Then to start the second half of this group, we have Pain Train, another rookie bot, this time from BattleBots. They'll be looking to debut that drum spinner, and likewise to many other contenders, just rip apart the competition. Then right down below we got Rev 4, back for their third season of this series with that undercutter. After a solid performance last season, they'll be hoping to make it a few steps further. Then the last one in this third quadrant, we have Seawolf from King of Bots, looking to debut that flipper to take control of the competition. Then to start off the last quadrant, we got 3 veterans in this one, starting off with Shatter. So far, 2 pretty unimpressive performances so far, but this robot is back with a new and improved design with that hammer, and they'll be looking to attack the competition from above where they'll feel the pain most. Then next up we got a well-known destructive BattleBots contender, especially early on. We have Son of Waiachi bring back that full body spinner, and then last but not least we have what's probably the biggest name in this group. We have Witch Doctor, returning with that nasty vertical spinner, which is full of improvements for this year. So yeah, we got quite a few awesome machines in this one. Lots of improved robots within this group, within some of these veterans. And certainly this is going to be fun. So I'm excited to see what tonight has in store for us. So I think we should go ahead and start talking about our first matchup of the episode. So for our first matchup of the episode, we have a battle between Bombshell and Rev 4, 2 robots who have been here for all 3 seasons of this series so far. So on the left side we got Bombshell, who went 1-1 both seasons they've been part of this competition, and certainly looking to improve upon that across this season. So yeah, Bombshell comes in with that wedge, a lot of speed, and that nasty vertical spinner that's been well known for causing some pain and some airtime within their opponents. So their opponent is Rev 4, who comes in with an undercutter. They didn't do so well in the first season, but really bounced back and had a solid run last season before running into Bronco, who ended their run last season. So yeah, what's it going to come down to for these 2 robots? So with Bombshell, this is a pretty favorable matchup. The speed of that robot and the wedge of that robot makes them pretty well designed to fight undercutters, and almost certainly a box rush is going to be coming within that robot. But then, of course, the one problem with bombshells is that they are not invertible, so they gotta be very careful to not get flipped. So with Rev 4, the best strategy for them is probably just going to be try to avoid the box rush and get that spinner up to full speed and try to land hits to some of those exposed areas on Bombshell. Those are probably going to be the big target zones for that robot. So I expect this matchup is going to be a giant driving war and will depend on who can get those first few spinner shots and cause the first big piece of damage to their opponent. So yeah, this should be a good one to lead off the night, and I think we should go ahead and get to this fight. Time for this matchup to begin. Bombshell charging right out of the gate as expected and knocking Rev 4 off balance. What is that though? Bombshell has already lost a chunk of that wedge courtesy of that undercutter on Rev 4. So Rev 4 showcasing the power of that horizontal spinner and already doing some damage, but they're being sent flying by that vertical spinner on Bombshell though. So Bombshell still arguably in control, but the damage is stacking up on Bombshell. And there goes another chunk of that wedge right there. Rev 4 continuing to cause some damage, but Bombshell is not backing down. They are not afraid to charge that horizontal spinner on Rev 4, regardless of the amount of damage they potentially have to take in the process. So, continuing to charge at Rev 4. Rev 4 is getting that blade up to full speed, no problem so far. They do have a pretty quick spin-up time, so certainly that's been aiding them so far in this fight. But they gotta demonstrate a little more control. There goes the disc on Bombshell! A little weapon-on-weapon action, and Bombshell is now without a weapon. They are now pretty much just a battering ram with probably a quarter of that wedge left right now, courtesy of Rev 4. This is where Rev 4 needs to start taking control of the fight. Huge hit that inverts both robots. Bombshell is upside down. They can move, but not well. So Rev 4 needs to take advantage, and they are. So part of a wheel just came off of Bombshell. So yeah, now back on the attack, and there goes the last little piece of that wedge. So much for Bombshell having a bit of a design advantage here. Like, I still argue they do, but, like, Rev 4 has just dismantled that, and now they are able to just take full control of this match, because they have an active weapon, whereas Bombshell does not. So, yeah, Bombshell's going to need to rely on just running their face right into that spinner, and try to control the fight as much as they can, get those valuable aggression and control points. I would argue they are winning on both categories, but it doesn't take much for Rev 4 to turn it around, especially in a circumstance like this. So, yeah, continuing to chew apart at the front is Rev 4, but Bombshell still managing to knock Rev 4 off balance despite all this damage they took. 30 seconds left to go. What a fight this has been to lead off this episode. This is a high intense match between these two robots. So, Rev 4 just hasn't had much problem getting that blade to full speed. Like, this robot is definitely a force to be reckoned with for sure. We're approaching the 10-second mark left in this fight. Both robots looking to make one final push. Bombshell and Bird once again, they just lost a tire! And certainly looking like this fight is about to go to the judges. We are going to lead off the episode with a judge's decision. And what a fight this was. So right off the bat, Bombshell showcased what I think we all thought their strategy was going to be. Charge in with that wedge to try to knock Rev 4 off balance, box rush them, prevent them from getting to full speed, and land some hits with that vertical spinner. They did do that pretty well, but they just didn't cause the kind of damage we're kind of hoping to see from that robot. And Rev 4, they had no problem getting that horizontal spinner to full speed, and then starting to dig it into the front of Bombshell. So, Bombshell eventually lost the wedge, lost that vertical spinner, and resulted in them being a battering ram for the last half of this fight. But lots of these little points, lots of these aggression control points is probably going to be the key to determining this matchup. Because I'd argue Bombshell did win some of those, so it could come down to how much of those did Rev 4 get. So, close fight between those two, but I hear the judges have a decision ready, so I think we should go ahead and hear it. So the judges' votes are in, and we have a unanimous decision. The winner of this match is Rev 4. So yeah, sounds like Rev 4 taking control of the match after dismantling the front of Bombshell is probably what handed it the decision, and they managed to score enough aggression and control points from that point in order to secure this victory. Yeah, awesome fight between those two robots, definitely both robots. This was hard fought for sure, and Red 4 definitely showing that they are absolutely a force to be reckoned with yet again this season. And as for Bombshell, definitely a robot to watch when we watch them fight in the Redemption Rumbles. So, another awesome matchup between those two, and I think we should go ahead and move on to matchup number 2 of the episode. So for fight number 2 of the episode, we have a battle between two newcomer robots, both from King of Bots. We have Bonesaw and Button Lee. So on the left side, we got Bonesaw, debuting that horizontal spinner, which has quite a bit of reach within that robot. And their opponent is going to be Button Lee, one of the more unusual designs in this field. They got those two big wheels, and connected to those big wheels on the outside, they have two vertical spinners. So, yeah, this is going to be an unusual design for sure, and it should be interesting to see how opponents are going to attack this thing. So, yeah, what's it going to come down to here? So, hard to tell who's got the better, who's got the worst matchup here. Because on one hand, Button Lee's wheels are going to be a lot more vulnerable to a horizontal spinner compared to a vertical spinner in this fight. But then if these two go weapon on weapon, typically a vertical spinner is favored over a horizontal. So this should be interesting to see. Like, we got two pretty fun designs about to go into the arena here, so certainly there are going to be some big hits between these two. And I'm not sure if I really expect this one to go to the judges, for sure. So, yeah, anyway, this should be a great first test for both of these robots. A great first look for both of these robots in the arena. This should be another awesome matchup, so I think we should go ahead and get to this matchup. Time for this matchup to begin. All three spinners getting up to full speed here, and an early shot landed, and Bonesaw knocked off balance. Button Lee sent all the way back. Now both robots back up and running. Another little glancing blow between those spinners, and now Bonesaw looking to come in for another hit, and looks like Button Lee, not the aggressor, but trying to defend those wheels with those spinners, just lead Bonesaw right into that spinner for some attacks right there. Huge hit once again. It looks like part of a wheel just came off, and looks like Button Lee just completely off balance right now. Looks like that shot seemed to have really hurt Button Lee. And another huge hit by Bonesaw. And now looks like Button Lee not moving once again. Not sure what's going on right there. But yeah, it's looking like that's going to be it for Button Lee. They are not moving for sure. And yeah, looks like Button Lee getting timed out right now. It is looking like this is going to be a victory for Bonesaw. Bonesaw by a knockout in a little over a minute. So yeah, there you have it. Bonesaw pretty well in control for most of this matchup, landing hard hits with that horizontal spinner. Definitely didn't expect this fight to last the full 3 minutes for sure, and we sure got that here. So one thing to watch will be those stability issues, but overall this was just not a good matchup clearly for Button Lee. Thought this might be a little bit of a hard matchup for Bonesaw too, but those tires just could not handle the impact from that horizontal spinner. Those tires were very quickly damaged, and resulting in Button Lee losing movement and an easy KO for Bonesaw. So, for fight number 3, we got two pretty big name contenders. We have Iron Scrap versus Shatter. So on the left side, we got Iron Scrap, who is officially making their debut to this season, debuting that drum spinner and looking to tear apart the competition. And then on the other side, we got Shatter, a complete redesign for this robot, as this robot is back for their third season of this series, bringing back that hammer and hoping to just tear apart the competition and look to strike their opponents from above. So, what are these two robots going to need to do? So, Shatter is going to be try to position Iron Scrap and just land as many hammer shots as they can and look to strike something important within that robot. So, then Iron Scrap probably want to try to avoid the front as much as possible. So, that is a nasty hammer on Shatter. So, Iron Scrap will want to get in early and get those shots with that drum spinner and tear apart Shatter before Shatter can get to something important with that hammer. So, yeah, this should be a pretty interesting fight for sure. So, it'll be interesting to see how these two robots end up driving against the other, because we do have Shatter with that Omni-Wheel form drive, so that's going to make it harder for Iron Scrap to be able to target the sides of Shatter, but surely they can pull something off, and yeah. We'll see anyway. This should be a fun fight to see between two awesome contenders. So I think we should go ahead and get to this matchup. Time for this matchup to begin. So Iron Scrap getting that drum spinner up to full speed. Approaching Shatter, taking an early shot. Don't want to take too many of those if you're Iron Scrap. But now they are inverted. They need to get upright here. Another shot to the underside this time from Shatter. And a little swing and a miss right there. So, huge hit, weapon on weapon, and Iron Scrap has lost the drum spinner completely. So right off the bat, Shatter hits something extremely important. Because now Iron Scrap has no weapon at the mercy of Shatter, who's now laying a couple shots, and there's another hit where they got something important, because that is smoke pouring out of the underside of Iron Scrap. Looks like Shatter must have struck a battery or a motor or something like that. Now Shatter is inverted. Looks like they're able to self-right this time around. That's a good sign, because that rep of Shatter from the past two seasons could not self-right. So already we are seeing major improvements from Shatter coming into this fight. Huge hit right there from Shatter. Another huge hit from Shatter, striking that underside where Iron Scrap is probably vulnerable the most. So this is a well-driven fight from Shatter, and Iron Scrap trying to take control of the fight, but really struggling to do so because they are inverted right now and they have no weapon. So they are on control board damage, and another shot from Shatter. Shatter going to go in for the kill here. Halfway through this fight, and Iron Scrap is in deep trouble in this one. Shatter is absolute force to be reckoned with so far. And is it coming? I don't know. Another shot from Shatter, and there's the death blow right there. Shatter KO. So early on, Iron Scrap challenging the front. Looks like they were trying to get underneath Shatter, but it did not work out well, because quite early on they lost the drum spinner and then were just at the mercy of Shatter's hammer. Shatter ended up landing hit after hit after hit, showing that this is a much improved robot from what we saw within the past two seasons of this series. So, is Shatter definitely going to be powerful enough to go on a deep run this season? Definitely looking like it so far, because those are some nasty, some lethal shots from that hammer. So, definitely the competition, they're going to be keeping an eye on this one for sure. So, we'll see Shatter in the next round. We'll see Iron Scrap in the Redemption Rumbles. Let's get on to the next matchup, which is a highlighted matchup. One of the two highlighted matchups of this episode. We have Falcon and Iron Rooster making their season debut. So let's check out this one quick. So coming into this one, we got Iron Rooster with that thwacker versus the dual drum spinners of Falcon. So right off the bat, both bots were kind of at a struggle point, attacking each other. Iron Scrap trying to attack the top of Falcon, while Falcon trying to attack those wheels. Neither were really able to get too much going. Like, both bots got some small shots on the other. But then it was pretty much this driving mistake coming right up. Falcon, payment for an attack, inverted themselves and ended up getting counted out after they got stuck. So Iron Rooster KO. And now for the other one, we got Pain Train and Seawolf. Two more robots, one from BattleBots and one from KingBots, making their debut. Let's see how this matchup went also. So we got Pain Train with that drum spinner versus Seawolf with the Omni Wheel drives and the flipper. So early on, Seawolf knocked off balance early, losing the tip of that flipper, courtesy of that drum spinner on Pain Train. Then for a while, neither robot was really able to get the edge over the other, but then Pain Train eventually really started to take over there. Found their moment, got underneath Seawolf, attacked from the underside, and eventually got the KO. So, Pain Train walking away with the knockout and moving on to the next round. So yeah, that's two more fights in the books, and now we have our last matchup of the opening round. We have Son of Waiachi versus Witch Doctor, arguably two of the hardest hitters in this group. So on the left side, we got Son of Waiachi, back for their third season of this series. Did very well in the first season, but kind of drowned out in Season 2, losing their opening round matchup, getting a wild card, and then losing in the first round once again last season. So they're going to be looking to rebound, and definitely a huge rebound could be if they can pull off this win against Witch Doctor. So on the right side, we got Witch Doctor. Didn't do so well the first season after taking an upset second round loss in the first season, but then really bounced back, coming back with a top 16 run last season and the highest seeded robot, at least in this group. So yeah, Witch Doctor definitely a force to be reckoned with, and this robot's got quite a few improvements with that weapon, the armor, and so on. So what's this one going to come down to exactly? So with Son of Waiachi, it's got to be get the spinner up to full speed, because a box rush is almost certainly coming from Witch Doctor. So Son of Waiachi is going to get that spinner up to full speed and land those devastating shots they are well known for before Witch Doctor can knock them off balance and possibly flip them over. So Witch Doctor, pretty much what I've just been saying that Son of Waiachi's been trying to avoid. Get the box rush in, flip Son of Waiachi over. That's probably going to be the easiest path to victory for Witch Doctor, and certainly a good box rush is going to be needed from this robot, because too many hits from Son of Waiachi, Witch Doctor may not survive it. So this should be a pretty awesome fight, C, for the last opening round matchup. So I think we should go ahead and get to this match. Time for this fight to begin. So Son of Waiachi game to full speed. Witch Doctor a bit slower out of the gate than I would have expected. So few weapon on weapon shots early on. Witch Doctor charging in, no fear. It was like not really too much urgency to slow down that full body spinner. That kind of surprises me a little bit. But they still are going in, no fear at that horizontal spinner for sure. Getting that spin to speed, and now they knock Son of Waiachi off balance. This might be the moment Witch Doctor has been looking for, and already a couple more huge hits on that vertical spinner. It was like Witch Doctor relying on the power of that vertical spinner, and certainly enough, it might be working out, because Son of Waiachi has taken some damage, as the ring on that spinner as well as one of those hammerheads has been removed. So this is Witch Doctor's moment. We need to see them take advantage of it. More pieces coming off. Looks like a tire just came out. Possibly one of Son of Waiachi's wheels. So Son of Waiachi is inverted, and they just lost another hammerhead. And how much is this going to hinder Son of Waiachi for the rest of this fight? So we're a little over a minute in, and Son of Waiachi already taking some serious damage. So Witch Doctor just coming in, no fear, despite the bit of a weak box rush there. So, but they are clearly not afraid, and they seem to be unscathed so far. So we'll have to see how time will tell, because that full body spinner is still working, even if it is slightly damaged. And you never know what could happen partway into a fight. We're a little over halfway through this match. Definitely Witch Doctor is on top right now, but that full body spinner is still going on Son of Waiachi. So, yeah. So we go charging in there once again. Is Witch Doctor looking to stay aggressive, continue to knock Son of Waiachi off balance as they are again, and Son of Waiachi flipped over again, trying to use that full body spinner to self-right. So But Witch Doctor just not making it easy. They're taking advantage of that and just going after them time and time again. So, more huge hits from that vertical spinner. Sonowayachi just taking a beating so far in this fight. Less than a minute to go here, and Witch Doctor pretty dominant for the most part in this one. This robot is back, and certainly these improvements are making this robot just an absolute terror to go up against. So, yeah. So, knocked off balance with Sonowayachi, but they are back up, and now that full body spinner a lot more off balance right now, courtesy of that vertical spinner known as Witch Doctor, and there goes the control board, Witch Doctor KO. So, yeah, when two hard-hitting robots get thrown into the arena together, sparks fly and robots are going to die for sure. So, we saw lots of hard-hitting shots between these two spinners. At first I was nervous that was Witch Doctor going to be able to handle all of these powerful impacts, but they clearly were not concerned about that. They got that vertical spinner up to full speed, found their opportunities, and was able to knock Sonowayachi off balance, tear apart the front of that robot, tear apart the spinner, and yeah. So pretty much as soon as they started taking apart that spinner and knocking Sonowayachi off balance, seemed like it was all over for that robot. Great victory for Witch Doctor. We'll see them in the next round. So, yeah, now we have our Redemption Rumbles. The first one, which features Bombshell, Button Lee, and Falcon. So, start off, we got Bombshell, who was dismantled by Rev 4 in a relatively close judge's decision. Then next up we got Button Lee, who took a quick and KO to Bonesaw. And on the right side we got Falcon, who lost in an untelevised match to Iron Rooster off of a little bit of a gyroscopic mistake. So, yeah, what are these three robots going to need to show here? So, really this is going to take a lot of strategy, because we got three very different designs here. In Bombshell with that vertical spinner and wedge combination, Button Lee with those big wheels and vertical spinners, and Falcon with those dual drum spinners. So we got a few damaging weapons in this one, so certainly all of this stuff is going to really come into play in this. So yeah, we're going to see how these three robots choose to take on each other. Should be interesting to see how these three robots strategize in the best way that will help them win this matchup. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see this Redemption Rumble. This should be a great one to lead off the Redemption section, and I think we should go ahead and get to this matchup. Time for this Rumble to begin. So it's like Bombshell going after Falcon to start this one off. Trying to get around to the sides, maybe. Try to avoid the ground game, avoid those drum spinners. And already Falcon is inverted, courtesy of that hit from Bombshell. Now Bombshell going straight for Button Lee right now. How is Bombshell going to take on that thing? Because I don't think the vertical spinner is high enough to strike the base. So Bombshell might need to target the wheels, and that's surely enough what they're doing right now. They got to be careful of those vertical spinners. So those vertical spinners always could cause all kinds of damage if you are not careful there. So now Falcon has been tied out. That was a quick KO courtesy of Bombshell, and now it's down to just two robots, down to Button Lee and Bombshell for that last spot, and we are 1 minute into this fight already. Huge hit from Bombshell, looking to knock Button Lee off balance courtesy of that wedge. Sounds like targeting those wheels is the right route for it. Another big shot, but I do see a piece on the ground. Probably a piece of Bombshell based on the color that I'm seeing there. Not sure if that's part of the wedge or part of the vertical spinner, but regardless, that's some damage that Bombshell needs to be careful about. So, another nice shot from Bombshell. They're doing a good job knocking Button Lee off balance for sure. Enacting some aggression and control, two very important categories, and Bombshell using that speed to gather that stuff. Huge hit, but Bombshell is now inverted. Not a good place for Bombshell to be. This is exactly what happened in their matchup with Rev 4. Let's see if Button Lee can take advantage of it, because they are behind on the scorecards right now. they got to do something big. And certainly enough, that was a nice hit from Button Lee, taking off a chunk of that wedge. So, yeah, Bombshell had to put on a whole new wedge after Rev 4 ripped it apart. And Button Lee trying to come take advantage of Bombshell being inverted. They did get a nice hit, but they got to do more than just that. Now Bombshell pack up courtesy of Falcon, and yeah, now they're back on the attack, starting to knock Button Lee off balance again, trying to rack up more points. So we're approaching the 30-second mark in this fight. I'd say Bombshell is probably ahead on points, but Button Lee has had their moments so far. So it just takes a couple good hits from those vertical spinners just to turn this fight around for sure. I'd say this still could be anybody's game. So, yeah, Bombshell continue to remain the aggressor, but they flip themselves once again. So, Button Lee needs to take advantage of this. 10 seconds left in the fight. It is looking like this Redemption Rumble is going to the judges between these two robots, Bombshell and Button Lee. So right off the bat, at the start of the fight, Bombshell just pretty much went straight for Falcon. Knew of that invertibility weakness of that robot, flipped them over very quickly, and cut it down to just two robots. So excellent strategy from Bombshell, just using that wedge and that vertical spinner to just knock their opponents off balance, demonstrating great aggression and control. But Button Lee definitely had some moments of their own. Plus also add to the fact that Bombshell did spend like 30 seconds to a minute of this match inverted in this one, starting from that hit right there. So that stuff definitely going to cost Bombshell on the scorecards. Button Lee did get some good hits in with that vertical spinners to capitalize, but was it enough for Button Lee? We'll find out when we hear what the judges had to say about this one. So the judges' votes are in, and we have a unanimous decision. The winner is Bombshell. So yeah, I think I kind of expected that result personally, because like Bombshell, I think overall controlled a huge majority of that matchup, dictated the pace of that fight. Sure, they took some damage in the process, but overall this is a very well driven fight by Bombshell. They did a great job like keeping Button Lee on the run, knocking that robot off balance, and got the quick KO of Falcon right off the bat at the start of the match. I don't think Button Lee did enough to capitalize on Bombshell being flipped over, and some of that stuff possibly was what costed it in the scorecards. Regardless, great Rumble, and we will see Bombshell in the semifinals. We'll have to see who they take on, as should be a fun fight to see regardless. So, yeah, awesome fight, and let's go ahead and start talking about Redemption Rumble number 2. So for Redemption Rumble number 2, we have Iron Scrap, Seawolf, and Son of Waiachi. So on the left side, we got Iron Scrap, who is knocked out by Shatter in that opening round matchup. Then we got Seawolf, who lost by KO in an untelevised matchup against Pain Train. And then we got Son of Waiachi, who got hexed by Witch Doctor, and then was just very quickly, I don't know about quickly, but dismantled by Witch Doctor in that one. So, all three of these robots lost by damaging KOs, so all three of them had a bit of a repair job coming into this fight. So, what are these three robots going to need to do here? So, yeah, as I mentioned, all three of these robots had big repair jobs coming into this fight, so just being sure they were able to fully get back up to speed and see what kind of improvements all three of these robots had. Like Iron Scrap and Son of Waiachi, like all three of these robots lost their weapons very early on in that matchup, so I expect we're going to potentially be seeing weapons flying once again, so we'll have to see how those hold up for all three of those robots. So we're almost certainly going to be seeing lots of weapon-on-weapon action, especially between Iron Scrap and Son of Waiachi. And Seawolf's going to be trying to get some flips in to knock them both off balance. So this should be an interesting Rumble for sure, because we got three very different designs once again. So should be interesting to see how these three robots strategize and choose to take on the others. So yeah, this should be a pretty fun fight to end the night, so I think we should go ahead and get to this Rumble and determine who will be claiming the last spot in next episode's semifinal. Time for this matchup to begin, the final matchup of the episode. Seawolf and Iron Scrap, the two King of Bots contenders, going at it early here, and Iron Scrap taking Seawolf into the corner. More head-on action. There was a tip of the flipper and a huge hit from Sonowayachi. Sonowayachi decided they wanted to tell them, "Don't you dare forget about me," and laid a huge hit there. Multiple bots out of control. Seawolf upside down doesn't seem like they're going to be able to get back up. It's looking like that's going to be it for Seawolf. Iron Scrap trying to come in to help, but not going to be enough. Seawolf being tied out, and it looks like one of those hits from Sonowayachi damaged the drum spinner. That drum spinner is now in half right now. So that weapon on weapon action not working out so well for Iron Scrap. Those hits have just damaged that drum spinner, and now they could be at the mercy of Sonowayachi's spinner, as that spinner was just too powerful for that drum spinner. Some more weapon-on-weapon hits between these two robots. Iron Scrap's got to get in there, for sure. And there goes one of the hammerheads on Sonowayachi, another hammerhead. So Sonowayachi taking some damage of their own, but they just cleaved off the rest of that drum spinner. Iron Scrap has no weapon left, versus Sonowayachi, which has a little bit of a damage spinner, but it's still working, still striking, still damaging Iron Scrap. So Iron Scrap just going to need to get in there, slow down that full body spinner before it can really start doing much damage like that right there. But yeah, and then need to dictate the pace of the fight, control the match, maybe flip Sonowayachi over, and so on. But Sonowayachi's not going to make that easy for sure. We saw how many hits they were able to absorb in that fight with Witch Doctor before that thing gave out, and so far this bot has had no problem getting that full body spinner up to full speed. Less than a minute to go in this one. Gotta say Sonowayachi is in the lead right now, but probably not by much, because Iron Scrap has gotten quite a few points themselves in this match. And so, but they still got to do something here because they are definitely behind on the scorecards. So, approaching the 30-second mark here, Sonowayachi just continuing to get that blade up to full speed and landing as many hits as they can. And Iron Scrap just doing anything they can to possibly knock Sonowayachi off balance or slow down that full body spinner, but it just has not been enough. So, yeah. Bouncing around a little bit with Sonowayachi, but they're back up and strong right now. So that full body spinner might have lost a couple hammerheads, but absolutely it's still doing all kinds of damage to Iron Scrap, who is now smoking, and probably been smoking for a little while. So, yeah, and that's the fight right there. This final match ended in a judge's decision. So, yeah, right off the bat, the two King of Bots contenders went right at it. But then that just gave Sonowayachi the time they need to spin up to full speed and just land as many devastating shots as needed. So Seawolf was taken out early because that robot, the flipper, was disabled, resulting in them not being able to self-right after they were flipped. Then it became just a battle between these two. So Iron Scrap ended up losing their drum spinner, chunks of it early on in the match, and then eventually the whole thing, which eventually led to the loss of their weapon for the remainder of their match, and losing that weapon for the second time tonight. So, then pretty much from there, Iron Scrap pretty much had to go straight for the spinner. They did manage to rip off all the hammerheads, so they were able to damage the spinner, but Sonowayachi still had enough of the spinner to where they could just keep shoving Iron Scrap back time and time again, just continue getting as many points as they can. What a fight this was to end the night, for sure. Like, this was a great redemption rumble to end the thing, and certainly neither of these robots went down easy. Anyway, let's go ahead and hear what the judges had to say. So, the judges' votes are in, and we have a unanimous decision. The winner is Sonowayachi! So yeah, I think I kind of expected this one was going to go that way, as so far Sonowayachi Sunwayachi's weapon, for the most part, lasted a lot longer than Iron Scrap's did, and they just kept landing hit after hit, just knocking Iron Scrap back. Iron Scrap did get quite a few points on the scorecard for sure, but it definitely was just not enough. Sunwayachi's spinner was just a little too powerful, was a lot more durable than Iron Scrap's, and all that stuff led to them claiming what is the final spot in next episode's semifinal. Anyway, let's go ahead and review. So today, 12 robots entered the arena to make their official debut to this season of War Machines, and officially 8 of them have moved on to the semifinal, whether it was through those opening round matchups or the 2 winners of the Redemption Rumble. So anyway, a lot of fun should be coming next episode, so let's go ahead and reveal the bracket for next episode. And here is the bracket. So we got a pretty large variety of contenders in this group, so next episode should definitely be fun. On the left side, so we got Witch Doctor and Bombshell, 2 fellow BattleBots. Witch Doctor, who had a very good night, will be taking on Bombshell, who had to go through the redemption rounds, in what should be a very fun matchup between 2 vertical spinners. And down below, we got the horizontal spinner Bonesaw and the drum spinner Pain Train. And another fun matchup should be coming between those 2, who both had very good nights. Then on the right side, we got 2 more fellow BattleBots contenders, 2 non-verts, none to say the less. We got Shatter, who decimated Iron Scrap, and Sunwayachi, who also decimated Iron Scrap in the last fight of the night. These 2 robots with 2 powerful weapons will officially clash it out in the next episode. Then last but not least, we have a battle between Bugglebots and King of Bots contenders. We have Rev 4 back with that undercutter and a very good performance in their fight against Bombshell. They'll be taking on Iron Rooster, one of the most unusual designs in the field. So that should be another fun fight to see, and I'm certainly all for it. So yeah, we got lots of fun fights coming. Lots of these robots had very good nights tonight. So definitely winning that grand final spot in the next episode is not going to be easy. So that just means next episode is going to be a fun one. So yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for this episode. So thanks for tuning into this episode. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that subscribe button so that way you don't miss out on the next episode whenever that comes out. Because I know I've been pretty slow and inconsistent about getting these episodes out. Doing my best for sure with what spare time I've got with my schedule, and definitely it should be a fun one to see. So yeah then, so I think that's all I got for this one. So thanks for watching once again, and I will see you all next time. Have a good rest of your day, everybody. Thanks for watching.